wasn't enough people on, but now there is. Everybody, you are being recorded. How are your bees doing, Stephanie?
They're good. I started last year trying to do it with a friend and it just didn't work out very well. So she took her hive. So I just have one hive now, but I'm going to split that one and get another nook when they're ready.
Have you been in them yet this year?
I have. I was really proud that they overwintered for my first year, and it's really strong. They're busy. I even put a
Good.
super on already.
Well, good. Then they'll be ready to split.
Yeah, I think so. Um, I did have a question. I had put some, like they were specifically for winter food patties, and I had just put them like a queen excluder on top and put the patty on top, and it caused a lot of debris in the hives. And I see a lot of that like in the honeycomb and stuff, but there's probably not really anything I can do about it now, is there?
No, they'll clean it out. You're talking about
Okay.
the sugar. It's just the sugar is not being eaten. It's kind of being spread all over and making a mess. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was like this. I should have brought the bucket in so I could tell you exactly what it was. But yeah, it was like this stuff that I made a patty out of, a great big
Yeah.
patty. And it had more than just sugar, but yeah, it just was a lot of debris. And
Well,
maybe I should
that
have just put it on top of a queen excluder. I don't know where else I would have put it
yeah,
though.
you can just put it right on top of the frames and not worry about it. That's one
Okay.
thing. But if it had sugar in it and they didn't eat it, they kind of were trying to clean it out. That's
Okay.
probably a good sign that they weren't hungry. Because
Oh,
if they
good.
were hungry, they'd have went after that sugar, you know?
Yeah, they
One
didn't
of those
even go
patties,
through all the
was
honey
it one of those,
stores.
was it one of those patties where you mix um, pollen in it and sugar and water and you make a patty out of it? Or,
I think it's already made like that
oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah, it's from Man Lake, and it just came in a little bucket, and it was
Oh,
just kind
okay.
of almost like a Play-Doh type cookie dough
Yeah,
type consistency.
right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, well, like I said, if it was food and they weren't eating it and scarfing it up, that's a good sign that they weren't hungry, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. And I sp I haven't seen the queen the whole time I've had the hive, um, and I never could even really see the eggs, but I did finally see eggs, so that was exciting. I thought
Good.
maybe I need to get a magnifying glass, but I did finally spot some eggs, so that was good.
Yeah, it's very, very helpful if you can see eggs. Um, Inside of my veil, I keep a set of reading glasses. And as I'm going through, I can reach in, to my veil and through my veil and put them on and find eggs. And you only have to do that once a hive. Once you find eggs in a hive, you don't really need to look for more eggs. So,
Yeah. Well, that's a good tip. When I went last year to your road show and saw how you worked in your hives, that was really helpful.
awesome.
And I got
Well,
like a
thank you.
frame hanger, and I feel like it's helped. Watching you has helped me be a lot more. I'm not so bumping them around as much, and probably just getting a little practice too.
That's a lot of it, just practice.
Yeah.
It always helps to see somebody else do it that's been doing it a while. Kind of gives you tricks and tips on how to do it, and then from there it's just practice. Just like anything else, like throwing a baseball or running or whatever. It's a certain amount of muscle memory to get to
Yeah.
do it. And
I think since I'm really the only one on, the other question I had, let's see. Oh, I asked this one at the last meeting as how often to change the pads. Um, the leftover honey that the bees didn't eat over the winter, Is it still good? It's not too like crystallized. They can still make food out of it.
Yeah, it's down in the brood boxes and they'll use it. They'll use
Okay.
it just fine. Matter of fact, they're probably still using it right now because there's not really much nectar flowing yet. So they're
Yeah,
probably using it.
that's what I thought. I put that super on there because I saw them bringing in a lot of pollen, but then I realized I don't think they're really bringing in any nectar though.
If they're finding any nectar at all, they're using it to feed to feed the brood,
Yeah.
and they're eating it themselves. There's not anything else out there that's putting off enough that they would be storing anything.
Yeah. Um, what else did I have? Oh, I know it's a ways away now, but I did want to see if there was someone I could help with when they harvest their honey, because it was a pretty, probably not good operation over here last time when I did it. Like I damaged the comb quite a bit, and I don't know, it's just like so many moving parts.
Yeah. Yeah, my extraction area is pretty small, and it's quite a ways for you to come. So maybe we can ask at the meeting and get somebody because I wouldn't mind having you up here. It's in my basement, but it's actually although we've rearranged the whole room and there is more room there now, but it's kind of a small area to have more than one person or
Yeah. Well, I'll just throw it out there. Like I said, I know it's quite a few months away.
right, right.
Yeah, I would just ask at the meeting or shoot me an email as we get a little closer to honey harvest time and I'll pass it back out again. I didn't send it out to anybody because it's a little early in the year for that right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm always, if I don't bring things up when I think of them, then I bring them up way too late because I forget about it. I think the other thing is I I wish I could would have brought my phone out and taken a picture, but you know how sometimes when the frames are too far apart and they make kind of a weird pattern with the honeycomb that like sticks out? I couldn't tell. I had some area like that, and it looked like there might have been some swarm cells in there, but it also could just be, but they were almost pointed sideways, not up and down. Is that
Right.
just like weird comb from those frames being too far apart, or who can tell if you don't see it?
It's probably drone comb if it's sticking out sideways. It looks kind of bumpy. And there are drones going out there. I don't know if on one of our other members, Heidi, she's actually already split. She's like, she got this wild hair and decided, she's like, I saw drones walking. And so she went ahead and she's already split. And then she posted the other day on the Western Slope Beekeepers page that she actually saw that her queen she's 90% sure it's been mated because she actually saw them with the stinger from the males on a brand new hatch queen. So you're probably seeing drone if they're sticking out the side and they're not hanging down.
Okay. So the drones are just a little bit larger than the worker bees, but I
They're
just
quite a bit larger.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel like
So
I don't feel like I can tell the difference between them yet.
Yeah. So the
Are you
easiest
coming
when
at
they're
my
capped.
roadshow?
I can tell the difference between the comb, the brood, like the drone brood and the normal brood, but once they hatch, I can't tell.
You should be able to tell because they should be pretty much bigger. Your queen's going to be your biggest, and then
Yeah.
the drones themselves are going to be bigger than the regular workers. So
And
The big
drones,
tell the big tell is their butt is round. A bee comes back to a point. Drone butts are round.
okay. I'll look for that next time. Round big butts.
Yeah.
Think they made a song about that in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, once you look at some pictures, you can also tell from the face they have a whole bunch more eyes. They have 3 times as many eyes. So their big compound eyes on the front of their head are bigger. But that's kind of a nuanced thing.
And drones walking just means they're inside of on the frames walking around.
Correct. What he's talking about is you don't want to split your hives until there's drones walking around inside. Because even after a drone comes out, it takes 10 days or so before they can fly and are fertile and can go out and mate a queen. So if you try to make like split before then and they make queen cells, even if that queen comes out, if there's no drones to mate her, you're not going to have a successful split.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's why it's important you see drones walking around before you you try to split or try to get them to make any kind of a queen.
Okay. Okay.
And if you're coming to my roadshow this year, then we'll make sure you see drones and know what they look like.
Okay. Yeah, I know. It's amazing to me when you guys spot the queen, and I can tell it when someone else spots it first. I just haven't been able to
Yeah.
spot it on my own.
You know, it's one of those things that it's kind of a personal thing. When I first got into bee colonies, I could not find a queen to save my life. My wife was always the one finding them because we were doing it together. She's right there, she's right there, and I'd have to look, and then she'd show her to me. But it's just with practice I've got now where I pick them out real easy. And I also cheat because I always make sure mine are marked so I can see them. That big red paint dot walking across there helps.
Yeah. Yeah. We had one marked from the 2 nukes we had one marked and one non-marked, and we only saw the one marked one time and we never saw the other one. But like you said, it's just practice.
Exactly.
It's practice. I'm still having the same problem. I rarely see my queens, and I usually, when I first got it, I was like, I gotta see the queen. I gotta see the queen. Now it's just like, I got eggs. I'm good. Let me move on.
Yeah, I won't say given up on seeing the queen, but I definitely just go through and do what I do, and then hopefully I see her. But
Yeah, with just a couple hives, you can take that time. But I'm up at 20, and I don't know how many Tracy's running this year. But when you got that many to go through, it's just like, okay, I know I got a queen, and it's time to move on. So I'm not out here all day long.
yeah, I can imagine it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't have any other questions.
Okay. When somebody else chime in, Renee or John or Kelly or Andrew, you guys got a question? Speak up.
I have a question.
Okay.
On the drone, on the queen marking pin, can you get those at Walmart? Or they gotta be like an oil based, a water based, a latex? What's the best one to use?
You have to get acrylic. Only get acrylic. And the only place you can find them in this area is in Grand Junction at Michael's and at Hobby Lobby. I always just order mine from Man Lake or whoever I'm ordering from. It's just easier, and you get the right color and all that stuff. So, but yeah, you can. Some of the really cheapskates here in Delta, they buy model paint like to paint model cars and stuff because it's acrylic, and then they'll use a Q-tip and they'll mark them. And I'm just like, come on, the pen's $7. Just that's not if you're worried about $7, then I'm sorry, I'll help you out and buy you a pen.
No, I was just seeing, what kind of paint pen you're supposed to use. I mean, I don't. The $7 thing is an issue. It's just I didn't know what kind of pen to use.
Right. I think it's Michael's has got a pretty good selection of them, and they have them in 2 different areas. And you can get, it's kind of nice because you can get different colors of blue or different colors of red, or like I said, just make sure that it's acrylic.
Okay.
And then, are you familiar with the color scheme on what color you should be putting on each bee?
All I know
On
is
the queens?
this year All I know is this year's blue and last year was green.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. There's a chart out there. It's every 5 years. It's a 5-year rotation. So you can look it
Okay.
up online to see what colors. But if you already know what it is for this year, then you're good.
Do you know Jason's gonna mark queens in
I think
nooks
he
or
said he would do it on request. He wouldn't
On
normally mark
request?
them, but he'll do it on request.
okay.
So, it's a cheating way to find out. It's nice to know what year your queen is if it stays on there, but it's also cheating. It's better practice to find the queen. In my opinion, better practice to find the queen without the marking. So,
Yeah. But
but
see, even if I go in a hive and even if I know that queen is marked, I'm always looking for an unmarked queen. Because if you're looking for an unmarked queen, that paint dot will still jump out at you. But let's say you've had a swarm and you didn't know it, then you're going to have an unmarked queen. You're going to look right over her looking for a marked queen. And probably 5 times a year, I get in a hive and I'm strolling on through it, and oh, there's an unmarked queen
Huh. Okay.
because they swarmed or she died or something.
That makes sense.
I've killed a lot of queens trying to get them off of the frame and then put them in the tube and then they fly away, or I've had a lot of problems with it. So I bought this thing this year, and you just, as she's walking across the comb, it's got the grid on it, and you just push it into the comb and you can pin her right to the comb with it and then put the dot on her. It looks like the top of the marking tube. So that way I don't have to pick her off the frame. I don't have to fiddle with her, just right there on the frame, and I'm done.
Okay. I was practicing last year marking drones because you can't really hurt, a drone. So
Right.
I was just practicing that.
Right. And that's a great way to do it. Just remember, if you practice marking a drone, kill it. Throw it on the ground and step on it, because if you don't, it'll crawl through the hive and then you're going to be thinking you've got queens everywhere.
If you mark them with a different color, that's, yeah.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah. Because I've got, I think the last 3 years pins, because I always buy 2 pins and I only need 1. But I've had a couple of years where that pin, something goes wrong with it. And then I don't have a pin for 2 weeks until I can get one. And it always seems to happen right when I'm having to mark queens in the spring. So I just get 2 pins and then I don't have to worry about it.
Okay. That's all the questions I really had, I guess.
Renee, John, Kelly, you got anything you want to
I
add?
have a question or two. Mainly, I want to know, now that we're coming into spring and can see all the frames, and I have a couple of really dark frames, trying to rotate out the old frames with the new, but yet they still have a wonderful comb on them, but they're so dark and full of old brood and stuff. How do you exchange those out without, I mean, because you're losing so much good comb, but but that she's not going to lay on it anymore.
Right. What I do if I have to do that is I will make sure the queen is in the bottom box and put a queen excluder, and then put the frames that you're going to take out in the top box. So she's not going to relay in them, and then wait for all the brood to hatch out. And then you can pull it out and take it out and throw it out. You might lose a little bit of pollen and maybe some quarters of honey, but you're not losing any brood that way.
Couldn't you keep a frame for a swarm trap?
You can do that if you want to have a swarm trap. I just throw them in the trash. If it has plastic foundation on it, you can take your hive tool and scrape all of the wax off of it, and then re-wax it with a paintbrush and put it back in if you want. Usually by the time that comb gets that dark though, the ears at the top are starting to get broken, or there's, I guess I'm pretty hard on frames because I use a frame grip. So when I just throw them in the trash, some people throw them in the burn pile. They're really good to start fires with.
So that dark comb, is it just dark or are they propylizing any of it up?
The frames I have that are really bad dark, they're from I bought a whole hive from a lady last year, and they're really dark, and then they have a few, like you said, a few things of pollen in them. But when you scrape them, they're just the little black, like donut type thing. They're just, it comes out with the honey. Just
Yeah.
dark. They're not like fresh brewed or anything. It's like the old stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Usually frames start getting darker and darker. And then when you start seeing the cell wall where the wax is, when that starts thickening and it starts making the actual hole smaller, that's when I throw them out. And to what Doug was saying, if they're starting to propylize over anything on a frame, it's time to just throw that frame out. Because that means it's got pesticides or something on it, and they really don't like it. For them to take the time and energy to propylize over it means there's something there that they really don't like. John or Kelly, anything you want to ask?
Is it warm enough to take off the insulation?
Yes, it is. You're down there in Grand Junction.
No, in Delta.
You're in Delta. Oh, now I recognize your voice, Kelly. Yeah, I recognize your voice now. I think in the meeting I said when the nighttime lows are like 40 and above, that's when you can take it off. So
Okay.
I don't know what the next 10-day forecast is, but I think our last night was 39. So, just look at the weather, and when that nighttime low is staying at 40, that's when you can that's a good time to take the insulation off.
Okay. Because I have a ton of bees and they're using just a little hole at the top. Then they're all piled up around it and everything. So I didn't know if I should move them, swap my boxes so that they're on the bottom and using the bottom hole and have more room to come out.
There's a bunch of them crowded at the top. You have like a top entrance also.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the bottom entrance open?
Yes, but they're not hardly a couple of bees. You go in and out of it, but not very
Okay.
many.
If a couple of bees are using it, don't worry about it. They can use it if they want. They know it's there. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
And you can only really tell by getting in them and seeing if all the bees are in the top and there's no bees in the bottom box. Yeah, you can flip them. That's not a problem.
Okay. Right. That was my only question.
Okay, John put in the chat that he doesn't have any questions. And I don't have any bees right now to worry about because they're still in California. So I'm doing absolutely trying to get all my house chores done so when they come, I can work on them. Fixing the wash machine, fixing the refrigerator, all that kind of stuff. Is anybody feeding yet? And Renee, are you in Grand Junction?
Yeah, I'm out by the airport. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I had the one hive, it's just overflowed with, I'm worried about swarming. So it's, yeah, it's been big. So, And there's drones walking. I haven't been daring enough to split it, but yeah.
Mhm.
And it got up to 80 today.
Yeah.
So it's warm down here and they're flying and bringing in lots of pollen. So just trying to supplement with a little bit of sugar water.
Yeah. If they're eating it, there's not any nectar flowing yet. Because
Right.
as soon as the nectar starts flowing, they'll leave your sugar water alone. So if they're eating it, keep giving it to them.
I gave him pollen patty and like a sugar brick.
Okay. Are they eating the sugar bricks?
Oh, they eating everything. Unlike the last person, they got a big hive, so I think they're eating it right now until, like you said, until they get nectar or whatever.
Right. Yeah. One of the tricks this time of year, if you get a hive that needs food, and you go in the first check and you can tell they need food, and you put a feeder on them. Once you put a feeder on them in the late winter, early spring, you have to keep feeding them until the nectar flows. You can't stop. They'll starve to death. Okay, anybody else got any questions? Yes, no. Bye. Okay. Okay, if nobody else has got anything else, go ahead, Kelly.
I don't, thank you.
Okay. If nobody else has got anything, we'll go ahead and cut this off then.
Thank
'Cause
you.
that's the whole reason. You're welcome. That's the whole reason for this, is to answer questions. I think, if you want to just even discuss anything else, we can, but if nobody else has got any other questions, let's go on about. Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
I'll see you all at the meeting. You're welcome.